Hello, hello, hello. I am Spiritual Life Coach Tricia Booker here with Kingdom Business, where we are empowered, where we heal, we get delivered, and we get free. We know who we are. We elevate our minds and our spirits and raise and expand our consciousness in order to walk in our true divine purpose and power. And that is the truth of who God has created us to be. So first, I would like to take the time out to say thank you for viewing my videos, for all the likes, for all the subscribes, for the shares, for the financial contributions to my channel, for the seeds you sow into me and my ministry, and for all the booking consultations and everything you do here to support my channel and my ministry. I really do appreciate that, and it is from the bottom of my heart. And so, y'all already know. And if you don't know, then now you know. I am here to drop this beat, this word, this message. Yeah. So, okay, you all. This is some serious business here. So, what had happened was God had been speaking this word to me. He had been talking to me about being in the ark, staying in the ark, and he put it on my spirit last night to release this word today. And so before today came, in the middle of the night, I was awakened with some things that God was just making me aware of and was showing me. Then again this morning, it was so strong on my spirit. So it's like this message became so strong, and it was just on my spirit to release it. So I felt like my original message was interrupted by another message. However, that was not the case. God said it all goes together. And so this is it right here. God is saying, stay in your ark. I'm going to say that again. Stay in your ark. Your ark is your protection. Your ark is your protection. Stay in your ark. So, here's the thing here. Many of you have been believing God. You have been being obedient. You've just been walking this out with God for some time. You've been growing. It seems like I say the same thing over and over. It's so repetitive, but it's the truth. Shouts out to you, cousin Becky. It's the truth. It's been a journey. It's been a journey for many of you. And you have stayed in the ark because you have done what God have told you to do, including removing yourself from situations, removing yourself from people, severing relationships, no longer having any ties or anything to do with certain people that just were not good for you. In many cases, God has shown many of you people who were actually your enemy. Some people just not so much your enemy, but just had Decepticonic ways. Shouts out to you, big brother Trend. So they were Decepticonic. Not necessarily a Decepticon, as my big brother Trend say, but Decepticonic, meaning having some Decepticonic ways, which makes me think of narcissists. Narcissists are out to get you. They're demons. They mean you no good, no harm. Their whole idea and plan is to harm you and hurt you. However, sometimes people have narcissistic traits or ways. Doesn't mean they're full-blown narcissists. Doesn't mean they're out to get you. Doesn't mean that they want to hurt you. And the way you know the difference is when you point it out to them or you address certain things, they change, they correct themselves, and they're also seeking God and working to do the right thing on their own accord as well. So what I'm saying is not just about stopping something because you said yes, because if they want to continue a relationship with you or be in your presence, absolutely. But they too want to improve and do things God's way. And so that goes right back into these ones that are not in God's ark. God has told you to remove yourself from people who are not in the ark. Now, going back to what I was saying before about how I was interrupted with a different message that became so strong and what God was showing me. He was like bringing certain people to my attention that, okay, so sometimes you remove yourself from people. You stop dealing with them. Sometimes they have decepticonic ways. And they may not even be aware, but you are. But you notice it repeatedly over and over, and you notice where it's going. So you have to remove yourself. At some point, some know exactly what they're doing. And what can happen here is, at some point, if someone is if at least attempting to walk in God's ways and do the right thing by God, and they have some decepticonic ways, at some point they know exactly what's going on and know exactly why you removed yourself. They know. And what happens is they begin to play the victim. But before they play the victim, things start happening in their life. What happens, what God is showing me literally is people are troubled because you're no longer in their life. Because for many people, I'm hearing, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Because sometimes some of these people you may have had to walk away from, you really were there to help them. You were really there to love them. It doesn't mean you were perfect, but you were willing to correct yourself and do things. You were workable. You were workable. You never meant people any harm. Even if you made an error, you would, again, do what it takes to correct yourself. Just because that's the kind of person you are. You really are sincerely after God's own heart. You really want to do things God's way. So here, these were people that you were really sincerely loving and really pouring into. And in some instances, God had you there to do just that. But again, their decepticonic ways cause you to withdraw. God eventually told you to move around them. And it's troublesome for some of them. And they may play victim because you removed yourself from them. They begin to, and then in some instances, what God was showing me is this too. Some people may even go to others and lie or not tell the whole truth in an effort to make you look like the reason why you removed yourself from them was because of something you did to them, which actually makes no sense, but okay. So God has said, is what he's saying is, they're outside of the ark. They're in trouble. And you're inside of the ark because you did what God told you to do and you removed yourself from them. And so I was reminded of a personal situation of my own, a little disturbing. Some loved ones of mine, I'll still say they're loved ones, I no longer deal with them. One is an elder who, over the years, I discovered they were my enemy all along. Maybe not all along, but for quite some time, at least 10 years, at least. And so over this period of time, I would notice little things, and God would show me certain things. And it was like brought to my attention, well, it had been brought to my attention recently, how this person, at one point in time, okay, I used to have this thing where when I was aware that people had an attitude towards me of not wanting me to make it or engage me in a certain way where I can pick up and sense that, okay, let me say it like this. I want better. I'm interested in better. I kind of have higher standards, I just heard needs. God is calling me to something higher. And so I would be aware sometimes of people who felt a certain kind of way about that. And at one point in time, I would be a little defensive. Even if they didn't say it, something in me internally knew. And so I would come off as, I'm this, I'm that, this is what I'm on. And this particular person said to me one day, I'm not competing with you. And it was like, after that, I had a moment with God, like, what is that all about? Because I'm like, am I competing? Because I will check myself and examine myself. And I knew I wasn't. God said no. And he explained to me what I just explained. That comes from a place of me knowing that a person is trying to make me feel a certain kind of way or keep me down. And a lot of this was done on a subconscious level. But even subconsciously, I knew, and I was responding to it. So what God would show me about that was done. It was a thing of done to trigger me and or make me feel like I was being competitive when really I wasn't. So I mentioned that to say it was a series of things similar to that would happen with this person. Another time I can recall, and this is something that came to mind last night and this morning, and it has been coming to mind lately here and there. And it was another thing of having a conversation with this person several years ago where something had transpired, and I'm trying to communicate to them and express myself to them. And this person said to me, you don't have to explain yourself to me. And it was weird to me because I'm one that already know I don't have to explain myself, but out of respect and thinking there was some kind of relationship there, even though I had seen repeatedly over and over and over kind of what was going on, but I was still learning. So it was weird when they said that to me because I was explaining myself and expressing myself out of trying to communicate my disposition to them out of respect and relationship, so to speak. And God would show me that was another thing of a trigger. This person was always trying to make me feel like it was just a game. Which reminds me of what I just said, how they said, how I just said it was out of relationship. I remember previous than that, another time having a conversation with them. This person used to always say relationship. Matter of fact, it was talked about a lot, and it was something that at the time the people they were around, it was something that they were ministering a lot. Relationship is about relationship. And I would have this thing where I would be like, what does that mean? But I never said it. It was just my disposition, because I'm like, if a relationship ain't appropriate, or if a relationship don't cause for that, then, in other words, it just didn't mean nothing to me and at the time. And anyway, I don't want to go too much into that. I'm making that point to say this person said that to me, even though that's something that they used to say. Not that you can't change your mind, but God has showed me then that they knew that was my disposition. So I'm repeating, I'm saying all these things to show a pattern here. And I don't know who this is for, but for some reason it's just on me to speak on this. At another time, this person, I knew someone through them. And this person, we became really good friends or something like that. And I was noticing something going on that wasn't good or cool or whatever. And just for the record, this person, I don't no longer deal with them, have no issues with them or anything. However, God just kind of moved me to kind of steer clear of them, because what would happen was when I would be in their presence, it created a competitive environment. This person is absolutely a woman of God. God uses this person, anointed, all that. But it's like when we would come together, something else came out and it would be like not good. And so God removed me and would tell me to just kind of steer clear of this person, because I would be a stumbling block to them. And others I've had that experience with something about me. Not that it's anything bad, but sometimes people feel threatened by you. And it causes something in them that's not good, that's of the devil. And so it creates an environment where God is not able to do with them what he's doing with them, needs to do with them. So he'll remove you from their presence. So I'm just saying all that to say, to clear up that this person I have no issue with. But at the time, prior to having this understanding, there were some things that God moved on me to share with this person that I know, that I've always known, this elder of mine, about this person. And I didn't want to do it because they were cool. They were friends, I guess you can say. And I don't like to talk to people about other people. Even if I'm experiencing something with them, especially if they're cool with them, unless God moved me to. So God moved me to. I did. So I'm going to say it like this. That went left where they started to defend this person, and even told me that the person said that was what I was doing. They just turned it all around, but it's old, it's over with. But what I'm getting to is this. This person made a point to me to say something like, around when this was going on, through a conversation, that maybe you're just too sensitive. This is what they said to me. And right then in that moment, that was off to me. I didn't say this to the person, but I'm thinking like, it is a sensitive thing. What was going on was a sensitive thing, and it was fresh. So it was weird to me for that person to say that. Later, matter of fact, not long ago, just being aware of what narcissists are and what gaslighting is, I learned that was gaslighting. That person had been gaslighting me all along. All those things that I just described was gaslighting. That was the behavior of a narcissist. And this is a full-blown narcissist, because this has been a narcissist that's really been, I want to say, underhandedly trying to stop me, block me, just keep me from moving into what God is moving me into. So they are actually an enemy of mine. So I mentioned all that to bring it here. This person is connected to another loved one of mine, which I had to at some point release because of themselves and actions that they were taking towards me. But this person, God has shown me at one point in time, the elder person just doing things, and God was making me aware, but I didn't say anything. And what God was showing me one day is that's a snake. He was showing me a snake, and a snake will bite. That's what snakes do. They out to get you. They're gonna bite you. And so when God was showing me what was going on through having this conversation with this other person, I asked later after the conversation, should I warn them? And God said to me, you already did. Because previous to that, we had a conversation. This person brought some things to my attention. And then God moved me to tell them what was going on, what I had been seeing with this person. And so they knew it. So God was saying to me in that time, later, in that later time, that you already warned them and they already know. So what happened was, since that, since that person brought something to me and I explained to them what was going on, there was an understanding of what was going on to the extent that it was, I was still dealing with this elder. When I say dealing, I kind of still talked to him, communicated with him, but I also was very cautious of them and was very aware of what they were. They were not someone that I would go and confide in, and they were not someone that I would go tell something that I didn't want to be known. I was very cautious in them and very careful because I knew who they were. I was very aware that they were an enemy, even though I was still engaged them sometimes for different reasons that were necessary. But at some point, God just kind of moved me to let it go. And I was ready too. Because it just, sometimes things can go from bad to worse. And when a person really just keep going, for me, it's like, yeah, I can't. So anyhow, back to this other person. I mentioned that part to say maybe I don't know if they took that as it was okay to keep dealing with that person. My thing was, I didn't communicate anything as far because it wasn't for me to instruct them as to how to carry out this relationship with this person. Because if you saw the snake, you know it's a snake. If you, what's up under snake skin? You done seen the snake skin already. What's under a snake's skin? A snake. So you already know. So anyway, I'm saying all that to say, this person goes to confide in this person and chose to go and confide in this person after I stopped dealing with them. But they know why. So I don't know why I'm sharing all this, but it's on my spirit to share. Now let me get to the point. What God was showing me this morning, they are out of the ark. And God showed me that I'm in the ark because he was showing me how he moved me around all of that to protect me. I had to remove myself from people to protect myself. God is removing you from people to protect yourself. You will have to sever relationships with loved ones to protect yourself. That is your protection. That is your ark. Your ark is your protection. Now, sometimes people don't like it. They're going to go through it. Why are they going to go through it? Because they are not in the ark. And not necessarily your ark, their own ark. They're outside of their own ark. They're not building the ark that God told them to build. They're not being obedient to what God is telling them to do. So, here's what God gave me. What did Noah do? God told Noah to build the ark. People were ridiculing him, mocking him, scoffing at him. These people thought he was crazy and out of his mind. But he knew what God told him to do. People have been mocked. These same people, them ones that you done had these experiences with, they have been mocking you. They have been calling you crazy. And they have been scoffing at you. And let me just add this. This elder, God showed me, when whatever was taken to this elder from the younger one concerning the matter where I'm concerned, this person said, oh, that's just... They kind of minimized it or turned it around and make it seem like I was tripping. I was crazy. So I pointed that out to say how they will mock you. How they will scoff at you. How they will say you're crazy. You're tripping. When all along, when you move around them, it's because you're doing what God told you to do. You're building your ark. You are protecting yourself. Your ark is your protection. What happened with Noah? He brought his people with him. Some animals. We know how they go. Check out the story of Noah. And it was only those ones that were saved from that flood that was coming. God was getting ready to destroy the whole thing. And that's why he told Noah to build that ark. God gave me how he said he will prepare a table for you in the presence of your enemies. See, your enemies watch God prepare a table for you in their presence. And that's why they mock at you. That's why they scoff at you. That's why they say you crazy, because you're preparing for the table that he's preparing for you. You're building your ark by removing yourself from them, by being obedient to what God is telling you to do and moving you to do, and only by associating yourself with those he's telling you to associate yourself with. Those was those people that was in an ark with Noah. Now we know what happened. Only those people that was in that ark with Noah were saved. everybody else was destroyed. And so God is saying that now, some of these people, depending on where they are, depending on what they do from here, some of these people now, they may still have an opportunity to build an ark for themselves by doing what God is telling them to do. Now, some people are codependent, and that's part of what the situation was with this young person. They were codependent. They're a codependent person. They're codependent on that elder. And I'm not saying it to throw no shade, because it's understandable. You know, I've been through that. But you have to, sometimes God allows us to go through these things, allow us to feel the hurt, allow these people to betray us, to hurt us. So why, part of why, so that we can overcome. Let me say that first. So this is the thing. The way we learn how to not associate ourselves with people that we shouldn't be, many a times, is by being hurt by them, so that we won't be codependent on other people, so that we will only be dependent on God and God alone. And so I'm trying to just keep my thoughts, my train of thought going properly. So, like I said, I've been there, done that, I know it. And so God didn't move me to warn this person a second time, because that person has to go through their own hurt and pain with this person, or whoever, so they can learn for themselves. You know how they say experience is the best teacher? Yeah, we can learn from others, but sometimes you got to go through some things yourself so you can get it. When you walk through some things yourself, you get it. Oh, I get it now. So that person has to hurt you. That person has to betray you. Actually, that person, in this case, is to that person is the same thing that they were to me. And I say were because they're no longer in my life. And so, anyhow, some will watch you eat, because remember, God is preparing a table for you in the presence of your enemies. That don't mean they're gonna sit at that table and eat with you, but some of them will be watching you while you eat. Some of them will not. Why? Because they don't have an ark. They did not prepare. They will be destroyed. They will be destroyed. And God has said it's all about obedience. Your obedience is your protection. Your ark is your protection. Building that ark, doing what God is telling you to do, removing yourself from people that are no good for you. Again, I'm not talking about people that have quirks and flaws. We all have those. I'm talking about people that clearly don't mean you no good. And if it walk like a duck, it quack like a duck, it's a duck. If it got snake skin and it got the tongues like a snake, it's a snake. Believe it. And at some point, you're not supposed to be running to a snake to confide in, to cry to tell your problems to be a victim to victimize yourself in a situation where you know why a person moved around you, but you having a hard time with yourself. You gonna still get bit by that snake. That snake love that you run into them. Yeah, that snake is gonna tell you, be a snake to that other person, which is why that person removed themselves from that snake too. You understand what I'm saying? I'm hoping I'm making sense here. So I'm just gonna bring it around like this. Them ones that you need to remove yourself from, and them ones that God is telling you to remove yourself from, because they're simply no good for you. And it don't matter who they are. They could be your mama, they could be your daddy, they could be your sister, they could be your brother, they could be your uncle, they could be your auntie, they could be your first cousin, your second cousin, your great cousin. It could be your pastor, it could be your teacher, it could be the president. You understand me? It doesn't matter who. It could be your daughter, it could be your son, it could be your husband, it can be your wife. Don't I know? Point is, when God tells you to remove yourself from that snake, because you know it's a snake. That is your ark. Your ark is your protection. If you don't build that ark and stay in that ark, you will be destroyed. You will allow that snake to destroy you. And you have to be the one to take responsibility. You have to trust God and God alone. It doesn't mean that God don't bring people into your life that you can trust, but you allow God to bring them people into your life. And let go of those ones that ain't for you. Them ones that got in that ark with Noah were people that were for him, people that he could trust, people that God told him, bring them on up in this ark. He did everything that God told him to do. If you read the scripture, it tells you God told him to build that ark. He even gave him specifics as to how to do what, measurements and everything. And at the end of the chapter concerning Noah building that ark, it says, and Noah did everything exactly how God told him to do. So what am I seeing here? You have to do things exactly how God is telling you to do. That is your ark. That is your protection. Ain't no trying to, well, maybe I can just, no. You can't play with a snake. Like they say, you play with fire, oh, you're gonna get burned. And you definitely don't go run into no snake to confide in. But I get it. I get feeling you need somebody. When I'm here to tell you, no, you don't. I'm feeling when you feel like you need a family. I'm not going to say you don't, but you better let God be your family. You better let God bring you. Your family may not even be your bloodline. I'm not saying you can't have relationships with your people in your bloodline. Those who you can, by all means, do so. But I'm saying, if God is telling you to let him go and you don't, you're going to drown. You have to do what God is telling you to do. Your obedience is your ark. Your ark is your protection. God can't protect you if you ain't doing what he's telling you to do. He giving you clear instructions. He's showing you who these people are. He's showing you who loves you. And yeah, you might have to take them through the ringer too. Don't I know? Stay in your ark. Stay in your ark. And be mindful of those who, I'm not even going to say that. Holy Spirit said I ain't even a need to say all that. I already said it. Stay in your ark. Your ark is your protection. Your ark is your protection. Don't go back messing with them folks that you already know ain't good for you. Stay in your ark. Stay protected so that you can move into this new earth. Because it's happening again right now. Back then, God destroyed the earth by water. He said he would never do that again. You're destroying it in a different way now. Because that's what's happening right now today. We're going into a new earth. The frequencies are very high. Many of these people who have not been raising their vibrations, have not been doing the work, have not been walking with God, have just not been in right standing with God, can't even handle what's going on the planet right now. They can't even handle it. But you stay in your ark. Do what God is telling you to do. Leave those folks alone that ain't doing the work, that have shown themselves to be an enemy, to be a snake, to be a narcissist, to be a demon, whatever. Sometimes people just not good for you. Like I said before, this person that I spoke of before, that this elder, I know through this elder person, they're not a bad person. It's just that something about when we came together would trigger something in them, and I had to kind of remove myself. And I kind of know what that is on a deeper level, but that's not what this is about. But the point is, when you know you need to remove yourself. See, I knew to remove myself. I've done it many times. That's just one example. That's your protection. That's your ark. So I'm going to leave that right there. Stay in your ark, folks. Stay in your ark. Remove yourself from these folks and stay in your ark so you can be protected, so you can be safe with your family, your tribe, your soul tribe, those ones that God has for you, because he's purposed something in you. Just like those ones that were in the ark with Noah, there was purpose on all them. That's how we were all born again. All born through them. And even the animals. He took one of each animal, male and female, so the animals could reproduce. That was purpose. So whoever your purposeful family is, he'll bring them to you. But everybody else you let go. They don't come in your ark. But you go in your ark and stay there and be safe. Okay? Kingdom people? All right. I'm going to let that rest right there. So, if you all like this video or if it resonates with you, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also, click on that red subscribe button and subscribe to my channel if you have not already done so. Thank you very much. Also, click on that bell right next to that red subscribe button so that you can get a notification every time I upload a new video. And if you are interested in any other services I presently offer, you can find all that information right down below in the description box. Just email me at kingdomtrish@gmail.com and we will take it from there. And so, yeah, I love you all so very much. I really do appreciate you being here with me. I really, really do. And so, with that being said, much love, light, and peace, and many blessings to you all. Kingdom people, that is my time. So you already know. Jesus girl, she is out. Peace.